Hi, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to present Artistri Sud and our work to you. I'm Jennifer Lonergan, the founder and CEO of Artistri Sud, and this presentation is in support of a request for a $250,000 grant. Artistri Sud helps women create strong economic futures for themselves, their children, and their communities. The problem is that women are disproportionately poor. They lack access to educational opportunities that would provide a means of earning a living. And because they're then viewed as an expense and not valued as earners, they don't wield the important influence in the household and beyond that we need women to wield in the world. Artistri Sud brings together between 50 and 100 women in a retreat format for a week of intensive training, 12 hours a day. We teach them entrepreneurship and leadership skills and an entrepreneurial mindset. The curriculum is designed with their needs and challenges in mind, like, for example, low literacy. The women interact, many of them are away from home and their families for the first time in their lives, and they build connections and a network, and they build confidence. Then we give them a year of coaching support remotely to integrate what they've learned. By the end of the year, they're generating more income, they're having more influence over the household, and are beginning to become actively involved in their communities. I'd like to talk to you about a typical example of a person who participated in our program. When Marisol came to us, she was working as a maid in a town 2 hours away from the rural area she lives in. Every other week, she'd leave her village to go to live and work with someone else's family. She was in an abusive relationship, but she needed to contribute to the family income and also to make sure her kids were safe and that there was food on the table. Like many women around the world, she had skills. In Marisol's case, she'd learned the ancestral skill of weaving and she could make textiles, which is not like a hobby, it's a critical skill for life in that context, used to make essential blankets, clothes, carpets for warmth and survival. She wanted to leverage this skill to earn a living for her family. So she did our intensive entrepreneurship training and she learned how to turn her skill into a business. We provided her then with coaching for a year and she grew this business. And by the end of the year, it was thriving. She was earning 3.5 times what she'd been earning before she did our program. She also began to save money for the first time. And in fact, she was able to save in 1 year almost as much as what she had earned the entire year before doing our program. She hired 3 people from her community, providing them with much needed work. And needless to say, she moved home permanently. And she was not only able to provide for her kids, but also to set a great example for them too. She soon launched a second business, and she did Artistri Sud's Train the Trainer program, which is a program that we do for strong graduates. We train them how to deliver the programs themselves, so with the idea that they can be paid trainers and facilitators later. And with her newfound confidence and teaching skills, she added a third revenue stream, teaching. So by the end of year 2, Marisol's income was sufficient for her to take a step back from her businesses and to become also an influencer outside her home. She led the drive to incorporate her rural community as a legal entity, and she then became its mayor. Marisol's story is a terrific example of how this change works. Artistri Sud delivers training programs which build confidence, business skills, and an entrepreneur mindset. Women leave the program with knowledge and skills and confidence, a new support network, and then they implement steps to grow their incomes. So we support them with that for a full year. That in turn leads to poverty reduction, and with income generation brings its own positive impacts, such as better health, education, nutrition, family planning, and things like that. And as the women's earning power increases, so does their influence over their own families, and soon they strive to make a difference in their communities as well. We've directly trained almost 450 women in 8 countries in Latin America, Asia, and a pilot we did in Africa. And we recently completed a 5-year retrospective study of our impacts, and these are some of the sample results. So 73% of graduates increased their income by an average of 94% in 1 year. All these results are within 1 year. 96% are more confident, 74% are more active in their communities, 65% increase their influence over household spending and decision-making, 41% provide employment for others in their communities, 30% become homeowners, and 93% mentor other women in their communities and help them with their businesses. So there are other organizations or institutions trying to address the problems that Artistri Sud is. So I'll just point out a couple of key differentiators. Microfinance is one approach which often jumps to mind when people talk about addressing poverty among women specifically. There are some positives there, but a weakness with microfinance, which some in the field are now coming to terms with, is that they typically neglect the capacity building piece, which is critical to sustainable change. Typical entrepreneurship courses don't offer long-term support. The content may be good, but the support needed to integrate the new skills and knowledge for longer-term behavior change is not there. Our trainings really focus on building capacity so that skills and processes are transferable and can be adapted to the precarity, which is really a part of life in many parts of the world. And our long-term coaching really supports learning and change. And finally, our focus is on women, where we believe a unique promise of positive social change lies. This is our team. We have a strong team, a committed group of people who are diverse, both in terms of their cultural, ethnic, and linguistic backgrounds, as well as in their fields of expertise. I wish I had more time to talk about them. Hopefully I'll get a chance in a future conversation. And if you support us, you'll also be joining an impressive group of local and international partners, and a few of whom are noted here. We've been doing this for 7 years, and there are strong incentives for each group along the value chain. The desire for social impact is really the primary one, which is common to everyone. And each group is also motivated by other opportunities. So for the core team of trainers and so on, there's income. And for the volunteers who support implementation in multiple ways, there's personal satisfaction and also the chance to gain valuable experience and connections that they want and need to advance in their careers. We work with partners in a variety of ways, and in the first year in particular, we work with partners in the field to acquire clients, and collaborating with us helps them achieve their own mission. And beneficiaries, of course, are interested in income growth and also the chance to prove themselves and to prove that they're capable of doing something on their own, and the chance that they can make a difference as leaders in their communities. So with a $250,000 investment, this is what we'll be able to achieve. I'll talk a bit about the tourism program that we want to develop, which emerged out of a web-based pilot we did this year in response to needs which were previously expressed by participants. So travel and tourism experts are envisioning, on the other side of COVID, of course, a move beyond sustainable tourism, which is really a do no harm model, toward regenerative tourism. So how can tourism be a force for good? How can it help give new life and bring benefit to the communities which receive tourists? We believe there's a golden opportunity here for our graduates to leverage the entrepreneurship and other technical skills they already have to access a larger market and generate more revenue for themselves and to bring more prosperity to their communities. So we already have a group of over 60 people on a waiting list in Vietnam and 40 in Ecuador who've been asking for this. And we need the resources to develop, implement, and manage this program, which is planned for 2021. Then in 2022, we want to expand to Africa, where the need is great and where we've already done a pilot. We've recently had about a dozen or so inquiries from prospective partners in 4 different countries. So we are currently assessing the options there. And the growth plan includes hiring a program manager to flesh out these projects and manage them. First the tourism next year, and then Africa in 2022. So as you can see in the top line, or the second from the top line in our income statement, program revenue is really less than the cost of the programs. The clients that we're serving really can't afford to pay the full load of their training, but we require them to contribute, which we feel is important, but we rely on grants to balance our budget. So as you can see, we're cash flow positive. We've been able to balance, but in order to continue to scale, we need grants. There's lots of detail here in the cash flow statement, so I won't go through it all, but I will just call your attention to the figures in red, which reflect the total operating expenses for the 2 years in question for the grant. So those are equal to the grant request. As you can see, we're in the black on our other programs, and I've been doing fundraising successfully for a number of years, and I have a board member who works exclusively on corporate sponsorship and also one on events. And as you can see on the bottom, with the grant money will remain cash positive. We're seeking $250,000 in grants and sponsorships over 2 years. And we will hire a program manager with that to flesh out and oversee the 2 new strategic initiatives. The regenerative tourism program represents a major new effort, which will create a lot of opportunity and position our beneficiaries to take advantage of a promising new trend in tourism. Participants will learn entrepreneurship skills and specifically about tourism in that program. And we're also very excited to take our successful program to a new area in Africa, where we'll be building on the pilot we ran in Zimbabwe. As you can imagine, there's a real need and a demand for our product in sub-Saharan Africa. So with all that, as a funder, here's what you help achieve. You have the opportunity to really help women and children get out of poverty. Most graduates substantially increase their income, create new businesses, provide employment, and mentor other women within 1 year. We expect, because of the nature of the business, that 80% of tourism graduates will hire at least 1 employee, so doubling the number of clients who hire other people. And in this way, assuring greater wealth and control of assets in communities. This growth has other important effects on communities. As women generate income, they typically take on a greater role in decision-making, first in the household and then at the community level, and ultimately beyond that. So you'll be making a difference for these women and also helping entire communities and the next generation to get out of poverty. Helping us launch our 2 new programs means you'll get to see these opportunities for success expand in exciting new ways. Thank you. I'll be glad to follow up individually with you, so I hope you'll reach out.